We're going to start the pod right now. I don't even want anyone to put on their game face. We're literally This is Monday morning after a college football weekend, an NFL weekend. People kept talking about baseball, but I think we're done with that for at least another year or two. Basketball was happening, but and of course the cream of the crop, what everybody's really talking about, F1. So here's the deal. I promised that we would talk about football for a minimum of 2 minutes, as long as then we would be allowed to talk about F1. And Gabe still doesn't seem to think that that's an equal, like that's nothing. It was the biggest thing of the weekend by far.
In Monaco? Yeah, I'm here in America, Beadle.
In the world. The world. Like it's, okay. Imagine this, because we've had this in the NBA, right? I know I'm supposed to start with football, and I'm just gonna tease F1 for later. It's good. For later. Like you have an entire season. It's 22 race season. This was the 21st race. We have one left in Abu Dhabi this weekend. They go through all the drama. You have two guys that are head and shoulders above everyone else. Lewis Hamilton, who even if you've never watched a race in your life before, you've heard of, and Max Verstappen, who you probably haven't heard of unless you've watched a race or at least the Netflix show. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Verstappen's been crushing it. And after all of that, 21 races, they are tied at 369.5 points each going into the final race of the season. How is that not exciting? It all comes down to Abu freaking Dhabi.
Okay. I mean...
Like, I'm genuinely excited
So you're
about
saying
this.
it's really awesome because this weekend was like the big prelude to the championship weekend? Yeah, it sounds like college football.
Well, yeah. But no, okay, you know why I like it better? Maybe here'll be the analogy. College football, there's a lot of sort of like fake smiling, fake schmoozing. We've been down the fake accents. We've been down all of that, right? F1, I think, is refreshing to me because the principals go after each other to their faces publicly. The drivers don't hide that's not true. Lewis Hamilton plays the game. He's very smooth. And the other ones I don't think know how to do that yet. They're children. I appreciate the sort of honesty that comes with F1. Maybe it's a European thing. Maybe that's it. Maybe as Americans, we're used to like pretending to be nice and then stabbing you in the back when you turn around. I don't know. But it is awesome. You have one guy who's like the Schumacher, who's not reckless, but he's a robot. And then you have Lewis Hamilton, who's been the name for so long, who's now in a weird position. I'm telling you, Gabe, you should have just...
So what does 369.5 mean? I don't even understand the scoring.
You accumulate points throughout the course of the season. So first place is this, second place is this, third place is this. Top 10, every race gets a certain amount of points. But really, you just want a podium.
That's 3.
And you also get points for... It's like there's only 3. It's like the Olympics. You get points for fastest lap. You get you're as a team, 2-member team. So you have Mercedes versus Red Bull. That's what that is. Mercedes already wrapped up the constructor title, basically. It's coming down to just these two dudes. And they are very like polar opposites of each other in every way. And I think their fan bases are very different. It's just like there's a lot of booing going on yesterday for both of them. It's just
more
perfect.
More context, Gabe. Like they're at 369.5. The third place person is over 100 points below them. So like going into the final race next Sunday, the 12th, like it's going to be one of them that wins the season.
Oh, like Alabama and Georgia. I'll do anything to make this about football.
Fine. Let's talk about college football. Okay, here's why maybe I wanted to be more excited about college football this morning because when Oklahoma State lost to Baylor, I thought that was the beginning of what would inevitably be a weekend full of those types of upsets that would have thrown us into chaos into yesterday's Selection Sunday show. And then when that didn't pan out, I just wanted Notre Dame to be in the mix for real because I think America, for the first and maybe only time, was sort of like, you know what, I'd really like to see Notre Dame get their due, even though they've been on national television since the beginning of time. So yeah, I just, when that didn't happen and it was the 4 teams that we sort of went into thinking it would be, it lost its zhuzh for me. And I think that's fair because unless you loved college football anyways, that was going to happen. I was in it for the drama and the chaos.
Well, let me ask you this. And by the way, Paige, you're into this F1? This is like both of you are into this?
I got hooked on from the Netflix.
Because we're sports fans.
So it's called sports, Gabe.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Called sports. You know, it doesn't have a ball. I'm sorry. Can't
called
enjoy
commuting in tight corners in Europe. But
the hell you need. They had 3 starts yesterday.
A lot
3.
of flags. Dangerous course.
That's
Dangerous
not normal.
Course. Basically an obstacle course.
2.5 hours. That's never.
I got hooked on the Netflix show. I
Okay,
think
go
like
on.
many of us.
And you would too if you watch it. Or maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe you're not really a sports fan. Maybe you think you are, but you only like sports
actually,
ball.
name drop here. Tom Rinaldi, greatest sports storyteller alive.
True.
Future
told me
guest? Future guest Tom Rinaldi?
Let's hope, because
He'll make us
guess
cry.
what? He's with you guys. He is obsessed with F1.
You're off, Gabe. Tom's
See?
on.
I'm telling you.
Great.
You are
Replace me with Tom Rinaldi any day. That's a good trade.
Oh, if I could just sit here and we could talk to Tom Rinaldi about F1 and I could watch his eyes light
You would
up.
cry. By the
That's a
end of it,
gift.
you'd be in tears.
Oh yeah.
That's the
I would
law.
totally cry. The minute Rinaldi pops on the screen, you're like,
Just anticipatory tears.
yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Fine. Okay, so am I wrong in saying that college football could have been more exciting and it just sort of played out the way it was supposed to play out?
I agree with you. So I guess what I have to ask on behalf of all of America, because by the way, if you go into these playoffs and none of these are your team's out, and you go
Correct.
into these playoffs and aren't rooting for Cincinnati, have a long look in the mirror. Okay? But give me the team or the car, what do you even call it? Give me the people in F1 who are Cincinnati so I can root for them.
Teams. They're teams. Or you could root for a driver.
I want to root for the underdog to come shatter those 2 guys with 69 and a half points.
As we just said, there is no underdog. There's the top 2 and everyone else.
Give me...
Yesterday, Esteban Ocon was probably the underdog.
He's great.
And he got screwed at the finish
did you
line.
just say?
Esteban Ocon.
Okay.
What is wrong with you? He's a French guy. It's lovely.
He was in the mix.
Also, you know what? Like they all speak 9 languages. What is there not to love? It's multi-million-dollar cars, beautiful cities, although some I could give or take. But like, dude, okay, fine. College football. Do people love John Harbaugh?
I think people are torn on the Harbaughs in general.
Mm-hmm.
They love and hate them.
So why do we think, because I was listening to someone talk about this morning, I don't hear him talked about the same way I hear other people being talked about. Like, I don't hear him in the same category as like Saban's and Kelly's. Is that accurate or not accurate?
I think that's because he's kind of like the Esteban Ocon of
Wow.
college football, and that I don't.
No, he's definitely
He
not
hasn't
that.
won it when it matters very often, and maybe he'll break through, and then he'll get into that next year. But I think he's just a big name who's never actually done the thing.
Right.
So if he were to pull this
Yeah.
off somehow, that changes
Oh,
everything.
no question.
Yeah.
Then
I
all of
think-
a sudden he goes, yeah. Then it's like when Peyton Manning got his first ring, and you're like, yeah, he's great, but he's not an all-time great. And then he won a ring, and we're like, great, Peyton's the best ever.
Yeah.
So basically, we want Michigan and or Cincinnati, or we don't want Michigan at all. And why wouldn't we want Michigan? Because we don't
That's
want
right.
Alabama, correct? Nobody does. Even though he thinks somehow he's some monster underdog.
The mental gymnastics that Nick Saban must go through I can only imagine, genuinely make his team feel that they are underdogs and that everyone is rooting against them is
The little
masterful.
program that could.
Guys,
It's like
he
Alabama.
lost his quarterback, running back, 2 best receivers, and 2 offensive linemen in the first 37 picks of the draft. And they just put up 40-something points against supposedly the best defense of all time. With all new guys.
Right.
Their new guy's going to win the
Right.
Heisman.
They're like the Rudy of college football. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like, I mean, I got to give him credit. It's a very Belichickian sort of. That is part of being a coach, isn't it? Like you have young men in a locker room, and your job is to motivate and or somehow get them all in a mindset of it's them against the world, even though it's really the world against Alabama most of the time. But it's a remarkable thing to watch. Like I whether you like the guy or not, he did it with a straight face.
I
Can't
will
knock
say sorry, Gabe.
And both of you can answer this. Is F1 as rigged as college football? Like, is Max Verstappen,
Ooh, one could say.
is he just guaranteed to be in front because, like, his car's
No.
got 4?
No. The argument would be that Mercedes and Lewis
Yes.
are
They're the Bama?
Lewis is Alabama.
4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there were some things yesterday. Like yesterday's race came down to, Max was supposed to give him back his spot. He thought he was doing that. Lewis hits him from behind. There's confusion as to what happened. Then they penalize him 5 seconds, and then he lets him go again, which was another miscommunication. This was all very important last-minute stuff that probably affected how that race turned out and would be a completely different thing heading into this weekend. But here we are tied. Look, as a sports fan, there's nothing better than starting from clean and like winner takes all. But having just watched this entire season, I'm blown away that this is where we are. I'm just blown away because Max was ahead by a lot and Lewis won the last 3 races in a row. He is arguably the greatest driver of all time, if not top 2. So whether you like him or not, and I'm not a huge fan.
Okay, but so
It's
Lewis is
remarkable.
not your guy. Max is sort of also not your guy. Who's your guy?
Well, Ricardo's my guy.
love him.
I'm a
Please,
McLaren
God.
fan.
What's this man's full
obviously.
name?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Okay.
Babe.
Oh,
Daniel Ricciardo. First of all, Gabe, you would love him. He's Australian. So with that comes all of the
Hell
fun
yeah.
Australian.
Tropes.
They're the most fun. They laugh at themselves. They can literally light up the room, and that's what he does. His teammate is this young British boy named Lando Norris. He's this beautiful toy. They're hilarious together. That's my team, but they're not winning.
They're there
anything.
to have fun.
So Max
That
is
feels
my
right.
other one. You're either Max. It's you're Max or you're not. You're Max or Lewis. That's it. You have to pick. It's polarizing.
I'm going Lewis.
And I picked.
Just saying. We'll check back in next
Oh.
Monday.
Oh, so you're going for the greatest driver of
Yeah.
all time? How very dare
I
you,
just think
Mayo
Max
Ridge.
is just like a real ass.
a robot. Yeah, that's how you get to be a winner.
I need a little more
But
personality.
how about you don't think Lewis is maybe an ass, but he covers it up better than Max? Because
Michelle, I like to take people at face value.
Oh my God, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone say in my entire life. By the way, are we just gonna not address the elephant in the room? And by elephant, I mean that giant
Chest of
drawers.
Oh, I thought the
wardrobe,
elephant was the
armoire.
NFL on a Monday. that we're not going to address.
Fine.
No, let's talk about Paige's armoire.
Like it is creepy and it's daunting. And like,
I think
what's
one
in
time
it?
Gabe told me he felt like I was in a funeral home, which feels right.
I thought you were in Anne Rice's house, which I got kind of excited about. I was like, ooh,
in Atlanta.
Lestat.
I'm in Atlanta with all the other
He's
South
back there.
Georgia Bulldog fans.
Does it feel like anything? Or is Atlanta too big a city
Oh
to
no,
ever actually
it
feel
feels like
sadness?
that. I'm at a hotel,
Really?
and so Sunday morning in the hotel lobby was just very sad. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of sad
That
Georgia
actually makes
fans
sense.
and like 2 Alabama fans.
Okay.
A
But what's the big deal? They're still like, what's there to be sad
I think
about?
it's that they've never beat Bama,
Okay.
so
that's
it's just
fair.
like feels, and they've been number 1 for the majority, if not all, the season, and so
Sounds
Yeah.
like Max
to lose
Verstappen.
again in the
Verstappen.
SEC championship.
I digress.
Actually seems like a jerk.
I mean, yeah, but you're still in it. Like you're still in the most important part of this whole thing. Like I get that you lost a game, but just make sure Alabama doesn't win this whole thing. Oh my God, if they win the whole thing after all is said and done, Jesus. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Fine, NFL. Were there any upsets? No. Tom Brady's still great. We're still talking about him like an MVP, which is insanity to me, but also I can't argue it. How could I? My fantasy football team's officially dead. I lasted the longest I've ever lasted, week 13, and then I stopped caring. What else? Like, there was no...
Ravens went for
Yeah.
2. Didn't get it. Would you have gone for 2?
Yeah, but he said he had to do that.
Does that ever happen in
He had
F1? You just are run out of options and you just got to gun it? You just got to step on the gas
Yeah.
and hope for the best?
Yeah, it happened to Lando Norris about 6 races ago. He ended up losing at the last second after leading the whole race. Yeah, because they made a bad choice in tires and consumption. So whatever, dude. Like
The Ravens, that's very similar. They kind of ran out of tires.
Wrong tires.
So it all comes
Wrong
back to
tires.
Harbaugh's. Yeah, no, he did. I mean, like, imagine having to do a strategy move only because you have literally no humans that can pull off anything else that you were going to try to do. That's a crazy on an NFL team. That's a crazy situation to be in, to find yourself, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you asked about Harbaugh. How about his brother? So, I mean, he might be the coach of the year just because he can actually, win a few games with no players. He's had no running backs all year long. He keeps signing new guys and just burning their tires out. It's unbelievable.
Is that good or bad? I don't know if that's good or bad. Is that a good quality or a bad
I
quality?
mean, as a human, maybe it's a bad quality, but as a football coach, I think that's what you're supposed to do. Burn out your tires.
Do I confuse Jim and John?
Yeah,
all
I
the
got
time?
confused even when you said the name earlier.
Yeah. I hate when parents do that, when they name them too similarly, and then I'm like, and they're both football. No, you know what? I'm sorry, Harbaughs. You confused me, and that's on me. And I am so sorry. I do like this about NFL this year. There's not a clear-cut favorite. Like, we're not doing that thing where we're just going to finish out the season because we have to, but we already know who's going to win the whole thing. Like, that's a nice, to be coming back to the sport like I have, like, that's a nice thing to come back to. I don't hate it. I mean, I know they're starting to sort of trickle, but when you say it's wide open, I say it's wide open.
It feels pretty wide open, except that, guess what? The Chiefs are just the best team, even though they're not as exciting as they used to be. They're Alabama also.
Do you really
They're
think
Lewis
No, I
Hamilton.
don't think they're unlikable like Alabama. But they're not as unlikable as Alabama, are they?
I find them
don't
very
think they are.
likable, but I think
Feels like
about
they have
half
fun.
the league hates them.
But do you think they're just getting good at the right time, or do you legitimately think they're better than everybody else?
A and B. Can it be both?
Really? No, because I think they started. I mean, look, everybody wrote that team off at the beginning of the season. Now everyone's like, which is, again, why I think sometimes sports talking heads are the funniest thing to watch. And I'm including myself in some way in that. But because it's like, oh, this team is over. It's done. The dynasty will never be, yada. And now everyone's like, oh, my God, it's the greatest team that's ever played the game. Like, what? You can't. No. And I don't think they're head and shoulders above everyone else.
Well, we got a few games left to prove it, unlike F1, where we're down to 1 week. And
That's
just
right.
up, it's Verstappen versus Hamilton for all the marbles.
There's 22 races, Gabe. It's
don't
not
like
like
your
it's just
sarcasm.
like 2 weekends.
22.
Yeah, 22 races around the globe. Do you know the logistic nightmare about that? Imagine
I
that.
joked about Monaco at the beginning, but that's a big spot, right, for F1?
Yeah, it's a sexy
Yeah.
spot.
So I have family who are British, and this means a lot to them too. And but I still didn't know anything about it. And Beadle, I have to ask, I don't know if you remember this. Many years ago, you and I concocted a scheme where we teamed up on our buddy Kevin Wildes. You can now see him on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, how about that? He's like a TV person
He's on
now.
TV. He
So
used to
weird.
just be a producer dope like me, sitting next to you, making Sports Nation.
And a stand-up comedian.
Correct. He was a very he was perceived to be a very funny person, is how I'm going to put it,
By
by himself and his
Love you,
closest
Wildes.
friend. Also on TV now.
Yeah.
So we were led to believe that he was sort of a comedy god, and he is a very funny guy. But so we wanted to sort of cut the legs out of that, and I remember whispering to you, hey, you know what? We should pretend that we think Dane Cook is hilarious. And then we did.
For like a year or 2 or 3. We would mention movies like, man, Good Luck Chuck or whatever that movie. I was like, it's underrated, highly underrated. Like when he's there with like Jessica like what's her name? Alba and
Yeah.
Penguins. Like that's all funny stuff. That's comedy
Like
gold.
we would wait, Paige,
And
until Wildes would like come back to the desk, and one of the two of us would just be playing like a YouTube clip of just Dane Cook and just cracking up to Dane Cook, and then get back to work when he sat down.
Wait, how does this relate to any
Is
of
this
this?
what you're doing to me with F1?
Oh, you
was
think
like, please land the
I'm
plane.
pretending to love F1? Like, no, don't land the plane. Just
Are you
plow it into the
pretending
ocean.
F1 is a thing just as a long con to America? Are we all Wildes?
Are you? No, I am not in the minority here. This is the fastest growing watch sport in this country because we, once again, were uber late to the party. Just like with soccer and every other thing that we think we invented, but we didn't. Like it's been going on, it's been crushing, and I just happen to be many, many years behind. But now I'm like full. Look, I have an attention span of a gnat. I've said it a million times. I am still 1000% excited about it every weekend. And I hope that lasts forever. I can't promise it will, because sometimes I just wake up and decide I don't like stuff. But my God. How about this? Well, you know what? Even if you watch the race this coming weekend, like it wouldn't mean anything to you because you don't understand the drama that's behind all of it.
No, I guess that's true, and that's why I like football, because I can drop in on these college football playoffs or the final third of the NFL season and pretty quickly catch up. I see a record, I count the score up.
But it doesn't feel dramatic. Like the football doesn't feel dramatic to me. Like those 4 teams in college, like those are the 4 teams everyone thought was. I mean, look, I guess Cincinnati would be the disruptor here, obviously. So maybe that's what. But do they have a shot in hell of like winning this whole thing?
No chance in hell. In the first game of the playoff,
Right,
they're a
so
14-point dog. Who knows what it would be in the final?
That's what I'm saying. So there's no real drama involved. And I think maybe as a sports fan, that's what I have missed in some of the sports that we watch. For me, NFL in this moment, granted, we got games left, but in this moment feels a little like, okay, I wouldn't know who to put my money on right now because I think it's still open. Basketball right now, open, but we're so early on in the season. But for years, it was like, okay, it was the Cavs and the Warriors. And that just loses its appeal. As a sports fan, you're just like, it's like watching a movie for the 3rd time. Like, there's no surprise left. I already know what's going to happen. I'm not excited about it. There's something to be said for when sports can still excite you. And for me, that right now, that is F1. It is the unknown. I have zero idea who's going to win this thing. And that is what sports are supposed to be in the first place. It's supposed to be the unknown. It's not a movie. And you want to be bored by the same crap over and over again and somehow tell me that that's more interesting than F1.
Well,
preach.
And I say you're a liar.
There's no amount of times that's too much for me to watch Gladiator. You put it on, I'm watching it. Same with football. So I'm sorry, Beadle. We're just going to have to agree to disagree on this. But you like drama.
So then why watch new football? Why don't you just watch old football documentaries over and over again? The whole point of the new is that you're not supposed to know the ending.
If the Jets had ever won anything in my whole life, I would just rewatch that over and over and over again.
That's different. That is the ultimate underdog. That is a Rudy.
Beadle, I have some drama for you. Since drama is what you like best about sports, I have major NBA scoops and drama. Breaking news that we should get to in the What Else Did You Miss? Because there's no chance you know what we're about to share with you.
Nope.
Okay, so
don't you dare get on Twitter right now.
Break, and then you're gonna. I can't. My internet's awful. Thanks a lot, Texas. Yeah, am I taking a break right now? And then you're gonna, because I feel like, to be honest with you, more times than ever, I bet I missed a lot this weekend. I was all consumed. So I feel like I want to get to what did I miss, because I think there's going to be a lot. Are we allowed to do that right now?
We can do whatever you want. I'm just going to go recoup from everything that just happened.
I'm going to send you a whole box of swag. All right, we're taking a quick break because I missed a lot this weekend, unless it was 4 hours of F1 coverage, and then I got it covered. Ho, 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 ladies. The holidays came early, not only for you, but also for your man here at Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand. Manscaped just launched new products that your man will actually use, including their all-new Ultra Premium Body Wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use MISS, M-I-S-S, for 20% off plus free shipping. Girls, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of finding Santa's beard in my dude's pants. Hairy jingle balls are a thing of the past with Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the Signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin-safe technology. Candy cane balls are no more. It's also waterproof, so he can use it in the shower. It's like a gift to yourself with less mess. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner. Keep his North Pole feeling and smelling fresh. Their hygiene bundle also comes with a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers that'll keep his junk feeling fresh all day. The perfect package for his perfect package. Manscaped is going beyond the groin with their new Ultra Premium Body Wash. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep his skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. It smells so good, I guarantee you're going to want to use his body wash too. They also just launched their new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which has key ingredients with benefits that include hydrating, nourishing, conditioning the scalp, and strengthening his hair at the same time. 'Tis the season to load up on Manscaped products, so get your man, your dad, your brother, and all your friends the best gift of all, the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Get 20% off from free shipping with the code MISS at manscaped.com. Every guy has Manscaped on their wish list. Get him products he'll actually use this holiday season. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MISS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code MISS. Get your man a gift you'll both enjoy. The gift of Manscaped. And we're back. We were never gone. Just secret behind the scenes.
I didn't even finish sipping the coffee.
I know. I just grabbed my. I didn't even get to drink. What are you talking about? I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna. Screw.
My ish is cold, anyways. I keep using the same mug, and I have 1,000 of them, but I just like this one so much. Okay, so this was a weekend full of a lot. And I joke about the football. Obviously, I'm still watching. I'm still paying attention. I did root for the chaos, and I only got that first game. That being said, a lot going on this weekend. This is one of the best parts of any year, and I know I missed a lot because I was all consumed by probably one sport above all else. So, what else did I miss? Also, you teased NBA.
Yeah,
like,
can I throw one in? Paige put a few things you missed together, but I have one breaking from our buddy at The Athletic. Shams has some forget a Woj bomb. Shams has some stuff right now. So by the time people hear this will have already been talked to death. But Beadle, your quick reaction to the idea. Dame Lillard is so worked up, so frustrated, that now he's considering playing with Ben Simmons. Could we see Dame to the Sixers or Ben Simmons and Dame teaming up and going somewhere else? What the hell do we make of this drama?
Wait. Yeah. Shams is saying that Damian said this out loud? Or is this
multiple sources have told The Athletic that Lillard would like to play with Philadelphia 76ers three-time All-Star Ben Simmons.
So if I'm a Trailblazer on that team, like a Siege, any of them, honestly, I don't know how to process that information. Because do I take it personally? Are you saying that we're so whatever, we're so dysfunctional and not going to win anything that like you'd rather play with this? I can't even say anything anymore because now it's like all sensitive. This young man who doesn't want to get better at the sport and seems to be being told all of the wrong advice by his close loved ones. That's what you would rather play with? And also in Portland, or they're not keeping him in Philly. Like he's not going to play in Philly. So what's the plan here? And do you think Chauncey Billups wants to coach Ben Simmons? Do you think coaches look at Ben Simmons as like women who look at men who are projects and think, I'll be the one that changes him? Do you think coaches look at Ben Simmons like that? Like, I'll be the one that gets this kid to come out and be the greatest of all time? Or do you think they go, I'm good?
No, I think it's A.
I won't even try it. You do? I can't imagine.
I think every coach of every major sport thinks they're the person to change, that they're better than everyone else who tried before them.
I think that, but you don't think that there are some projects being humans that are, you look at and think, I don't know, there's nothing I can do. Unless he wants to do it on his own, there's nothing I can say. You think every coach would look at Ben Simmons and be like, I could do it.
Yeah, probably. Just about every one of them.
I think if you're coaching at that level, your confidence is already up there where you're going to be the guy.
Well, Doc Rivers was like, no.
Well, right. You learn it once you spend time with him. Then you're like, oh wait, no, this guy's miserable, and then you blame the guy. It's not that your coaching wasn't any good. The whole story rewrites itself once you actually get the chance. It's the dog who bit the tire. But I think they all think they can be the one to fix him. But all
right, so morbid curiosity, I would like to see that happen, actually. I would watch this. This would be fascinating to watch.
Wasn't Dame the one who threw all kinds of shade at LeBron and others for making super teams? Wasn't his whole thing, I'm not the super team guy?
Yes. Well, Damian Lillard has painted himself a bit in the corner. And like, I respect it because, I think most people see Dame Lillard playing out his entire career up in Portland, and he hasn't done anything to sort of sway that. Like, that has been the narrative. And while all of these other people were jumping ship and moving around and making super teams, he was always the guy that was like not going to do that. So yeah, but would that be a super team or is it a deficit? Like, I don't know if that's a super team, adding Ben Simmons to anything at this point.
The part of this I find strange is I can't tell if it's he wants to leave Portland or he wants to play with Ben.
Right.
Like, does he want to go to Philly and play with Ben, or is there a scenario where they both end up somewhere else?
Well, here's why I think it's not going to Philly. Because if you are a player and you're saying, I'd like to go to Philly and play, you're going to say, I'd like to play with Joel Embiid. And if Ben Simmons happens to show up that day, great, we'll try it out. But like, so then that must mean he thinks Ben Simmons would go to Portland. And if that's the case, then what? CJ leaves, right? Which I guess is always the trade bait that everyone keeps talking about. Or you just blow up the whole thing and start over with just Lillard and Simmons.
Yikes.
Oh my God, I hate this idea.
Sounds like we need to get Shams on here later this week to try to figure it out. I
would love to talk to him. I love that he's like the young, like, I mean, he probably hates this, but like there's been Woj forever, and I love Woj, but I do like that there's like a new young dude.
The Verstappen of this business.
Verstappen.
Sorry. Give me some credit.
That feels rude to Shams somehow.
What?
I know. Well, because you know why? Nobody wants to be told that they're the next anything, because everyone thinks they're, well, I'm just the next me. So that's the thing. Anyway,
Brian Kelly thinks he's the next heartbeat of the South, apparently. Paige, can you set this one up, please? I don't know if people got to see or hear this.
I can't imagine how you didn't hear this or see this, but newly hired LSU coach Brian Kelly came from Notre Dame, and he...
And Massachusetts, by way of Massachusetts.
Key information by way of Massachusetts. And he was addressing his new fan base at, I think it looks like their gym. And the man really lead into the long A's and the drawn out y'alls and the family. And I'd love your thoughts on that.
All right. We make fun of Madonna because she randomly picks up British accents, right? I'm making fun of Lady Gaga because she randomly picked up a Russian accent trying to get an Italian one. I have grown up in the state of Texas the majority of my life. I don't have a Texas accent. I say y'all because everyone does at this point. To watch that man stand out there on a microphone and say, this is a great day for me and my family. It was so cringe, and yet I wanted it to go on for many, many more seconds than it actually did. Like, I wanted him to go in this full story mode with that accent. And then for me, the other thing was like watching the fans in the background just, you know, I mean, it's a pep rally. They're super stoked about this new thing that's going to happen. But like, what must they have really been thinking? Do they even hear it? Like, I'm wondering if they even heard it the way we all heard it. In real time.
But Gabe shaking his head, I disagree. I think 100%, but I think down there it doesn't matter. They're like, win games and you can say family as weird as you want.
Family. Has he talked about that yet? Has anyone been like, what are you doing?
Not that I've seen.
When he has to, right? He better lean into it. When they ask him about it, he's like, shucks, y'all. Just me talking to me. Like, he should go full.
He should just
go full Edo when they ask him about it.
I just want to, yeah.
I don't think he
just
was like as. Is that a brain thing? Does your brain just go and then like I've never just pulled an accent out of my butt like in my entire life. Like, yeah, when we fake it, but I've never been so in a moment where all of a sudden, wherever I was, that's the accent that came out of my mouth. Ever. And also the accent that he did, I don't even know what that was, to be honest with you. I think Elle Duncan did a thing on SportsCenter this weekend, and I love Elle to death. That was the funniest, like, 2 minutes I've seen anyone do on that whole bit. And it killed me. And I was like, yes, she nailed it. So if you haven't seen it, I suggest go to her account. But yeah, Brian, on a week where Brian Kelly couldn't possibly become more unlikable, he somehow managed to make it worse.
Do you think he planned it? Do you think he went in being like, okay, I'm going to really pander? Or like spurred the moment he started it and then was like, I am in too deep. I have to keep going.
Like, I'm too deep. I got to drop family. Yeah, I think pandering is such a weird trait that some people have and some people don't. To me, it's already a sign of like, yuck. And so I think that's just his default is pandering. And that's what his job is. His job is to go into kids' living rooms and pander to the parents and tell them everything they want to hear and then rinse and repeat. But I'm so glad that happened. It was like the cherry on the crappy Sunday that was last week for his orbit.
Can I just offer a counter opinion?
Sure.
Yes.
And I'm maybe walking myself into some danger here, but I understand it. I don't think he planned it, and I think I've done it. And I think if we're all being very honest with ourselves, we've done the same thing he did. Maybe not with a microphone in front of thousands of people on TV, but I mentioned I have some British family. I've spent time in London, and I find myself
fair.
with the cadence, I say some of their silly words. Like, you spend a week or two.
That's different. I say some of the silly words. I picked up lovely as an adjective for all things everywhere, having been over there for a minute. But I don't say it lovely. Mm-hmm. I don't add an accent to it.
I think,
like, I might use words, but I think that's just language in general. You pick things up around the way. Like, no worries. We all say no worries. Well, the first time I heard that was in Australia, like 25 years ago. And now it's just normal. That's different than if I started adding accents to all
right.
of it.
Well, I worked for a while around an entire group of Spanish-speaking people. And they would speak fluent Spanish and enough English. They spoke English much better than I spoke Spanish. But when we spoke English, they all spoke with an accent. And then I found myself, well, I didn't find it. My friends called me out. I was speaking English as though Spanish was my native language. I had like a weird affect. I don't know. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I think it happens.
Are you married to Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, see?
Because that's what you're describing. Like, what? Gabe, I grew up in a house with a parent, my mom, whose English is her third language. And not for 1 second of my entire life have I had a random Italian accent. I haven't even tried it because I know how stupid I would sound. And that's my mom in my house my whole life. So no, that's not a thing. That is not what normal people do. I stand by that. That's why Madonna got crushed. That's why all actresses get crushed when they randomly pick up accents and we're like, girl, you're from freaking California. Stop. So yeah, no. But I loved it. It couldn't have happened to a better person.
And at a better time. We needed it.
Family.
He made family into like a 5-syllable word. It was pretty incredible.
Die. I know. And die.
So many days. Speaking of family.
Unlikable as hell. Go.
Well, this guy's never going to change. Ben Roethlisberger, he's 39. We're told now that he is contemplating this being his last season in Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
The way I read it was he wasn't saying last season playing professional football. So I guess my question for you, Beadle, is like, is there any chance that we see this guy on a football field next year?
Oh, you mean just somewhere else?
That seems to be what he's hoping happens.
Well, that's how I took it exactly like you did. Like certain words, when you leave them out, it has a whole different meaning for that sentence. Although I have seen people this morning writing it up as though retirement, and I just didn't take it that way. I think that the Tom Brady, LeBron James era of professional sports might be confusing some people, that you can all play into your late 30s and 40s. And I don't think that that's accurate. I'm not saying Ben Roethlisberger doesn't take care of himself physically, but I'm not saying that he does either.
He's not out here cutting strawberries from his diet
not on
or
that,
whatever.
Yeah. Right? Like not on that level. Like those two guys in particular are like adamant about it. I mean, to the point where I almost feel like, do you even enjoy life? Like that's how serious they are about it. So I don't know. I think he probably would like to maybe, although it would be weird at this point in his career, wouldn't it? Just for like the last year of a throwaway to just go play somewhere else. I mean, I would personally think you'd retire before you would do any of that, but we also didn't think Adrian Peterson was going to be playing again this year, and here we are.
Breaking records.
Points on the board. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone signed him. Of course not. But as a Steeler,
I get the sense that the
not.
wording of that press release or whatever, no, it wasn't a press release, whatever, however it came out and it was like, oh, I'm not going to play for the Steelers. I think that's a little bit of testing the waters, see if there's any interest. But I think the number of, Big Ben's last year, retirement, et cetera, probably tells him everything he needs to know.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm sorry.
Paige.
Sorry, Ben.
So he woke up this morning thinking, the world loves me. I can't wait to see who wants me. And then he opened up a paper, as if people open up a paper, and was like, oh,
what if he went and just like
retiring?
Backed someone up for like 2-3 years?
That's what would he though? What a weird, why? It's not a money thing, I assume. Like that's a weird way to end an amazing chapter of one's professional life. Like I don't get it.
I think what's different about him, and you can't rule anything out, but what's different about him versus his peers, his contemporaries, is all of those guys, Eli, Drew, Brady one day, even Phillip Rivers to an extent, all of them were just going to walk off the field right into a media job that they wanted. I don't
Fair.
think Ben has that option. I don't know.
Ben Roethlisberger is known in my mind as the guy who preemptively blocked everyone on Twitter. I found out because of that story that I was blocked by Ben Roethlisberger on Twitter. I've never followed Ben Roethlisberger. I've never tweeted about Ben Roethlisberger. I've never even thought to do either one of those things. So So what I'm saying is like, yeah, I don't know that he's a guy that would even want to be any part of any kind of media. He's like a Jay Cutler.
He's going to own a Bass Pro Shop somewhere. maybe a franchisee of Bass Pro Shops.
Oh, getting fancy. A Cabela's, perhaps.
Sure. Why not?
Oh God, see, there you go. I just got one of them accents. Got one of them accents, y'all. I'm fixing to get one right now.
Maybe he'll open up a B&B like you did, Paige, and put a lot of antiques in it.
Just napkins.
Maybe he'll go teaking with you.
Just
pretty
napkin.
Sure.
Nobody has
I
that
don't
many
know.
napkins.
You don't know, Beth.
Not even Martha freaking Stewart. Like,
what else did Beadle miss? I feel like we have a few more things to drop on her.
Speaking of accents, we'll transition this because Southern accents, this is available in the South. So there is a bowl game. Many of them, as you know, are tire part bowl games, etc. However, my personal favorite, I think, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So last year, the executive director, they sort of implied that the winning team's coach would get a large amount of Duke's mayonnaise dumped on them in the event of a win. That didn't happen, and this year, the executive director, God bless him, came on Twitter to directly address the fans and let them know that this year, he was apologetic for last year's mix-up, but this year, if the winning coach allows themselves to be doused in Duke's mayonnaise, he will donate $10,000 to the charity of their choice. I would like your thoughts on both mayonnaise as a condiment, as well as getting it dumped on you if you win. Thank you.
well, the memes that will come out of that, there are words for what that will look like. I'll leave it at that. Number 2, I love mayonnaise. I love it so much. I love flavored mayonnaises. I love truffle mayonnaise, spicy mayonnaise, regular mayonnaise. I do not care for Miracle Whip necessarily. Never really had it as a child. Only tasted it at friends' houses, and I was like, what is this? Whip. But yeah, it makes every sandwich better. But I am here for a grown-ass person having mayonnaise dumped on their faces. Like, I'm here for all of it. And I also love the idea that somewhere in the world there's an executive that was disappointed that didn't happen. Why didn't it happen? Did they not?
It was supposed to be dumped on, it looks like the Wisconsin coach, Paul Christ, but it was water. And so, yeah, the executive director of the bowl game was like, we're so sorry. It should have been mayonnaise. But
so I bet they hired one person for this year just to make sure that it's mayonnaise.
I want that.
That's an awesome job. That is awesome. I
don't think a big thing of mayonnaise would. It's hard to even get mayonnaise out of the jar. How are you going to get it out of like a giant Gatorade?
I did think about this.
Right?
I think you water it down a little bit, but I also think we're talking about like the big ass Gatorade, like the classic container.
I'm just picturing like they pick it up, try to dump it. It sticks in there like a blizzard. Yeah. They're like, oh, it's not coming out. So then they just panic and get people to just start throwing the mayonnaise at the coach. Just smear it all over his face. Like I want this more to happen, dare I say, than Max Verstappen winning the F1 race this weekend. I want this to happen so
Don't
bad.
Those guys pour milk on themselves? Okay. It's not that different.
Oh, that's Indy, dude.
What?
No, these people drink champagne. What part of fancy are you
the one who
listening?
was like, Monaco.
God. Yeah, it's Rolexes and champagne.
Oh, and it looks like the Mayo Bowl this year, the Mayo Bowl is North Carolina and South Carolina. Okay. So Shane Beamer and
that's easy.
Perfect.
Mac Brown.
Somebody's going to have mayonnaise on their face.
Blessings.
Mac Brown.
Ooh, it's a lot of oil.
Mac Brown is not taking mayo to the face. That's not going to I dare someone to try to do that.
Mac Brown, though. I mean, if you ask nicely and said maybe
it's $10,000 to the charity of their choice.
Is $10,000 enough for you to have mayonnaise smeared all over your face on national
I would just be like, here's 20 grand. Get that friggin' mayo the hell away from me.
If it's olive oil based, I'm in because it's actually good for you.
It is good. Anyway.
Go on.
We got a couple
God,
more.
I love the Mayo Bowl.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is right about everything as far as I can tell, says, quote,
Yep. Like soft cheeses.
He's in on soft cheeses?
Yeah, go on. That was his one request at ESPN when we shot something.
Just
Nope,
soft cheese,
that's,
like any
that's what we're
particular
talking
type?
about now.
Yeah, sorry, I need to
Forget
drill
it.
down
I don't
on
have
this
anything.
further.
So one time Kareem Abdul-Jabbar demanded soft cheeses at ESPN. Beadle, what's your reaction?
But the best part is Euro, our friend Zach Benedict was the one that had to get it for him. Oh, very, very nice man. A man who cannot sneak around the world at all. Like no incognito for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But I didn't mean to interrupt. I think of soft cheeses when I think of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And now I
as
will.
most people do.
We all will.
Since we're on a tangent, let's go a tangent off the tangent. Zach Benedict, aka Euro, the best bit we ever came up with him was when Vlade Divac showed up at ESPN and we pretended that Zach was his long lost son.
And he Paige legit looks
and
like
Vlade completely played along with it.
Completely went. It was like a Maury Povich episode. It was he was like hugging, like
Oh, wow.
we
He
reunited father
needed
and
no
son.
convincing. He was like, "This is a good bit. I'm in."
What if Vlade Divac, because professional players, like they travel the world, they sometimes make babies. What if in his mind he was like, this actually
I
could
better be
my
nice to
son.
this kid.
Right? Like I don't want to give him money, so maybe if I'm just nice to him, this will be enough.
Yeah, and they've got cameras out, so I can't be a jerk.
Should we get them both off the
that's a
show?
good moment. That's some good-
Off the show. Should we get them both on the show?
I mean,
Yeah,
just
that's
to
what I'm
reunite
saying.
again.
Really drill down.
Oh, God. I'm sorry, I interrupted Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because I really don't know what you're
Well,
about to
he
say.
said that goats don't dance in reference to LeBron James doing his dance and getting fined for it. And I'm just curious what you think about goats dancing. Literal goats
well,
or
Kevin Bacon
figurative
danced.
goats, whatever you prefer.
Kevin.
Real goats dance, they jump dance. And goats. I like to think dancing is the uniter amongst us all. Even if you're bad at it, it makes you feel better. It can make a bad day into a good day, burn a little energy. I think maybe he just doesn't. You know what it is? I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's old school, old generation. Maybe it's like his sort of way of throwing subtle shade at LeBron in the whole conversation of goats, if you will. Because look, as much as I don't care for LeBron, I don't care if you dance. Like if you do it, this reminds me of when Colin Cowherd used to go off on John Wall for dancing. Like if you're backing everything you do up, I don't care what you do, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it's you at the end of the day get the last laugh.
I will say it was not subtle shade because the preceding quote prior to "Goats Don't Dance" is, "Why do you need to do a stupid childish dance and disrespect the other team on the court? It doesn't make sense." Then goats don't dance. So, but I'm with you.
Well,
Let people have
that's a
fun.
hell of a lead-in.
And
God, I
he
love
got
Kareem
fined
Abdul-Jabbar.
$15,000.
He did get fined. Yeah.
Wait,
This wasn't the pelvic grab one. This was a different one, right?
I don't know. Is LeBron James like going on TikTok now? What's happening?
Well, the game in which he got those two people thrown out was also the game in which he grabbed his junk and like hopped down the court, and I think he got fined for that.
Oh,
That's not a dance, or is that considered a dance? I don't even know if that's a dance.
Are you on
to be
TikTok?
honest, not on purpose.
Oh, so you are. Okay, we'll talk about that another time, maybe off air.
Yeah, but I don't know what my account is. So
Okay,
anyways.
well, speaking
There's
of
no way
crotch
there's
grabs,
more.
that was.
Yeah.
This is a rough
Back
transition. Marshawn Lynch, everyone's favorite. It turns out that I think we talked about at one point his appearance on the Manning cast, and it looks like there were only 2 FCC complaints about his infamous F-bomb laced appearance. Do we think that's too low?
2.
I was expecting more.
No, we think that's too high. Who are these people that put complaints in to the FCC? Who even knows how to put
There
in
it
a
is.
complaint
No
to
clue.
the FCC? Like I would have to spend 30 minutes Googling it to try to figure. And then what is it? Is it an email? Is it a snail mail? Is it a phone call? Is there 1-800 line? Like it's like it's the tattletale of every class that I have no time for. Don't watch, don't listen, go read a book. But God forbid you read a book that has a bad word in it, because then who do you complain to? Imagine your life is such that that's what you did. You watched Marshawn Lynch on cable talking football with 2 brothers who played football, and you got offended somehow. My God.
It'd be like if you listened to this show and got to the 40-something minute. You've been through all of this, and right now Beadle, you dropped an F-bomb, and someone was like, "Mother, I gotta get me my pen and paper. I gotta tell someone about this."
What a world. I want to know who they are. Like, who are these people? And they're always there. They complain about all kinds of stuff. But like, I wish we would out them. Somebody should do a documentary on the people that complain in the FCC.
I do. Yeah, I think that's right. You don't get anonymity. I cannot say that word. Anonymity?
No, you don't.
Is that
you
right?
don't get to tattle.
Yeah.
I like the commitment to the bit. I think good for them. Like, that's the person you're trying to be in life. If you were watching football and Marshawn Lynch curses in front of your kid, you write a letter to the FCC. You're the same person who's being that guy everywhere you go in life, so just stick with it.
Just so you know, if you are that person,
No, nobody
does. Nobody. Your
Your
friends
kids
don't
are
even like
embarrassed.
you must have a nice house.
Both
kids hate you.
of
They're
these
down
strongly
there when they're
worded
18.
would I assume are emails, but I sort of like a world where they're actually like handwritten, like stalker notes.
Right. I mean, you get, like, when you're on you get handwritten things, and it always makes you laugh because you're just like, A, you took the time to write this down in the moment. B, you sent it, so by the time the person gets it, they don't even know what you're talking about. It's just it's amazing. I don't know. Maybe it's this thing where people just need to feel involved in everything because we don't have actual power in our lives. But anyways, nobody likes you. Nobody.
Beadle, I don't think there's anything else that you missed. I think
you missed F1, Gabe.
I'm gonna get ready, man. Abu Dhabi next weekend.
If you could get Max Verstappen ready to go on next Monday, after he wins it all, declaring a change in the shift of power, yeah.
I hate to go with it, but I'm still on Lewis Hamilton.
Oh.
Well,
Okay,
you probably love the
also,
Yankees, so that's
absolutely
fine.
not. Yeah, I'm actually a Yankees fan, a USC fan, a
Lakers
Notre Dame fan,
fan.
a Cowboys fan.
Oh, Cowboys, that's the other one.
I like his helmet.
Yeah,
That was the thing I
exactly.
didn't mention earlier. I liked that he wore
that was
the
the
rainbow
big-
helmet in
Yeah.
Saudi. I think that's cool of him.
A lot of them have been like he's the most visible, obviously, because he's the best. So when he takes stands, and he takes a lot, and that's awesome. That's your platform. But a lot of guys were like that for this one, because I think when the black and white that I used to live in, and now I'm trying to sort of be in the gray, like Saudi Arabia is one of those things. Like WWE goes there, and it really is polarizing when they do. Justin Bieber performed this weekend there, and people weren't happy about that. And so I think with F1, they can't sit out the race. So they do the next best thing, which is like bring as much light to the issue of homosexuality in this case in Saudi Arabia. And a lot of them did it. And, sometimes that's all you can do.
So you admit it, he's the best.
I don't like him, but he has nice watches.
Okay, we need to end this.
On that note, I think we're
I'm
done.
going to spend the next several days studying up and picking a guy so I can be on the side of one of you. I'm leaning.
There are only
right
two
now,
choices.
I'm leaning Verstappen.
Jesus.
You're gonna love Verstappen. He's a kid. He's a child. He's the future.
He's
That's
everything
all.
you
He's
hate,
the future. No, he's everything you love. Do you like people who win and are awesome about it and don't apologize?
In
Asshole
many
robots.
cases.
Like, he walked off the stage yesterday instead of doing the stupid champagne showers where he, like, I hate you. Why would I party with you right now? That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I love
All right.
it. Anywho, that's Monday. We did get football in way too much as far as I'm concerned after an F1 weekend like the one we just had. But is this our second break or are we done? I think we're done. Or
I think it's our second break. Sorry.
Damn it. Okay, we'll do it again. Can we even
We can
do
do
it
whatever
again?
we want.
I don't even know. We take these second breaks, but then we come back and I go, okay, well, now we're back. And now we're
I think
done.
you don't have to now we're back it. I think you can just, that's it for another episode.
Or we should
That's it
probably
for another
start
episode.
putting something after the break is what we should do.
No, we're not. No, Gabe, no.
That's stupid, Gabe. You're dumb. Yeah, no, I think that's it. Maybe I'm just used to a break coming back. But I guess when you're running out of time on a show, you just come back and be like, and that's it for us. We'll see you next time.
Maybe, do you have, maybe like you can give everyone a recommendation of something
catchphrase?
that they should watch or read or.
Well, I need to go watch Succession for this week, so that's what I'm going to do.
it's
And
so
I hope everybody
good.
else, because there's no way you
It's
watched
so
it in real
good.
time this Sunday.
I did.
There's
I
too
couldn't
much
sleep
to
last
watch.
night. It was great.
I didn't watch it because you know what, Beadle? And this is something we're going to talk about in depth. where we're all going to agree. I've been watching Get Back, the Beatles doc. I'm almost all the way through it, and I chose that over Succession and Curb this weekend. And there's a lot to discuss, and I know you have takes, so I want to hear that from you soon.
I do have some takes. That's fair. In a future episode.
As soon as the F1 season's over, people, we're going to talk about the Beatles.
One more week.
A 50-year-old band.
One more week, baby! All right, I gotta go study up on F1. There's a lot of stuff going on. See ya.
See ya.